fallout, smoke, women crying for their sons because their sons are not, Romans killing riotous groups that are rising up. Free Judea, free our people, autonomy for Israel. You had Herod and Edomite and his dynasty. Herod's ruling, killing any potential threat, any potential Messiah. Then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees that we learn from Josephus are not Jews by birth. No.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
Let's go! All praises be to the Most High God. Yeah, I say it.
I was opportune to meet my grandparents, whom from childhood had always made us to understand that we are one of the lost tribes of Israel. Okay. So from my grandmother.
Right. Now look at these. Yeah, I'm telling you, I gotta show y'all. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Just look for yourself. And this is the creme de la creme. All praises be to the Most High, y'all. Everything we've been through, y'all, the Most High is going to retribute it on all the nations that have had a hand in the oppression of his apple, the apple of his eye, his chosen people, his beloved, his fervent lover, his only begotten. They're going to have their part in the lake of fire. You see them tormented by some kind of creature. I don't even know what that even is, y'all. Judgment in chains. He that led into captivity shall go into captivity. All praise to the Most High, y'all.
And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. We'll get to the promised land. We'll get to the promised land.
What's up, Zion Dynasty? This is your favorite dreaded Israelite, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. JB Zion. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all already know what to do. Show me some love. Show me some love. Your boy is back in the flesh, about to hit y'all with another banger. All praises, honor, glory, dominion, majesty, world without end to the mighty one of Yaakov, the Holy One of Israel, the Redeemer of Zion, the very resurrector of the 12 tribes of Israel, the dry bones of Ezekiel, the Most High Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. And first, I want to say peace, love, blessings, and black power, Moorish power to all my Israelite brothers and sisters. I could not do this without y'all. Y'all mean every single thing to me. Every comment, everything that y'all say, I take to my innermost man. I love y'all with everything that's in me. Me and Shawnee D. This work could not be done without y'all's continued love, y'all continued support. And I just love each and every one of y'all. And I'm so happy and excited for the kingdom, y'all, because we gonna be deep in that thing. Just like we deep on Zion Dynasty gang gang. Just like we deep on Zion Dynasty gang gang. They ain't gonna know what to do with us in the kingdom. Let's go! And also, y'all, I can't forget, I want to say peace, love, blessings, and black power to all our sojourners of Israel. All our Gentile brothers and sisters, those that ain't lost in the goon squad sauce.
In the goon squad sauce.
Of these urban apologists, junkies, and flunkies, those that went off to the cemetery, the seminary school.
To be able to learn absolutely diddly squat. You know, Israel don't worry, whosoever will, let them come.
To learn absolutely diddly squat, right? All those that say,
you know where Israel done away with, the Jew no Greek, God don't care about Israel, they got Christ crucified, for God so loved the world, and whosoever will, let them come.
They don't know that John 3:16, for God so loved the world. We looked at Isaiah 45:17. Let's go and get it. Where it says, for Israel shall be saved in the Most High Yah with an everlasting salvation, world without end. And y'all can slice and dice everything they say. But to all y'all, greetings as well. I love y'all. All my frenemies, all those that got their Inspector Gadget goggles on.
Trust you, let's see what the Israelite talking about today. They are cult. They are cult.
How is an ethnicity a cult, my guy?
Well, y'all black nationalists, y'all a hate group.
Me loving my people is a hate group?
Well, you saying folks don't serve y'all in the kingdom,
Understand, our God is a God of justice. Every ounce of blood that's been shed in this earth, the Most High Yah himself is going to require every bit of it. If you don't got nothing to worry about, you shouldn't have to be, oh, I'm scared, I'm scared. If you're scared, you did something wrong. Let's go. So y'all, we back in this thing. Yoruba, B'nai Ephraim of the tribe of Joseph, i.e. the son of Jacob, name changed to Israel. And y'all, we about to hit it. So we've been doing a lot, family. We've been going through a lot. I think my camera, I scared my camera. We've been doing a lot with eschatology, end time prophecy. We've been slicing and dicing the book of Revelation. And y'all know I didn't go in a specific order. I got to come back around and deal with the prophecies to the end time churches. Deal with the Most High's throne and those angelic beings with 4 faces and all that amazing stuff, y'all. Like with the face of a man, face of a lion, face of an ox, and all that stuff. We're gonna deal with it. But in today's video, I'm gonna give y'all a snapshot of the end game. I'm gonna show y'all when the Most High comes and judges Esau, these white folks, the European countries, for what they've done to his people. Y'all gotta understand, I got to deal with this. The Most High has not forgot about his people, y'all. The scripture says in Jeremiah 31 that every time you see the sun up, every time you see the moon shining in the night sky, every time you see the stars shining in the strength thereof, and the waves roaring in the strength that they have, that this is an eternal reminder that unless these ordinances go away, the Most High ain't never forgot about his people. He ain't never gave up on our people, even though we went through the transatlantic, had yokes of iron around our neck, were beat up side of our head silly, were stripped of our identity and history. Even though we went through all these things, our sons and our daughters having Skittles and iced tea and being gunned down like animals on the street, the Most High forgot. Even though they segregated and oppressed our people and lynched our people and mutilated our people and beat our sons above recognition, even though they bombed our self-sufficient cities, they bombed Black Wall Street, even through all of this hell that we go through each and every day, the Most High said that you can forget, the Christian church can forget, let's go, everybody can forget, Israel can forget, but I ain't gonna forget for my name's sake. He said it, we read it, where the Most High said it ain't even about Israel at this point, it's for my own name's sake. In Ezekiel 36, he said that I'm gonna do this for my name's sake. I'm gonna remember Abraham, I'm gonna remember David, I'm gonna remember the promise that I made. So y'all, when you start coming against God's people, it's like, y'all gotta understand, it's like a people being grafted into a family. You come into the house and you see a natural born son, you see your parents that adopted you, and you got beef against the firstborn, right? And a lot of our people subconsciously have animosity for their own people trying to build the community. Y'all, it's crazy. That's the mark of the beast. That's the matrix that we talked about in the Mark of the Beast video. White supremacist Christianity, run and fueled by the European nations led by America, has got our people zoned out, where our people think that coming against their people, building the community, they're doing God's will. I'm telling you, Christ prophesied that thing, y'all, where there will come a day where people will persecute Israel and think that they're doing the Most High will. So y'all, we're going to pick right back up into the book of Revelation. We're going to rehash some of the stuff we talked about, the 144,000, the 12,000 out of each tribe of Israel that are chosen, are going to be given supernatural power and are going to rule in the age to come at alongside of Yeshua. So we talked about that. We're going to review that. We're going to talk about that beast system. We're going to talk about America. We're going to talk about that resurrected Renaissance Roman Empire that is the 4th beast of Daniel, the 10 toes at the bottom of the statue of Daniel, iron mixed with clay, that last ruling empire that would rule before Christ returns to establish his government, world without end.
Who's going to stand last? Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi goes and says Rome is going to fall in the hands of the Persian, meaning that Rome, Edom, America, that's going to be the last one standing. Meaning that Rome, Edom, America, that's going to be the last one standing. Meaning that Rome, Edom, America, that's going to be the last one standing.
Yeah, so first, y'all, we're going to jump into it. I'm going to do a review. We talked about Esau in excruciating detail. We talked about Esau being a people that would dwell in the clefts of the rock. They would exalt themselves as the eagle. They would seek to set their nest in the stars. We looked at Neil Armstrong. The eagle has landed. Not just
Tranquility Base here. The eagle has landed.
Not just that, but we saw in the prophecies of Deuteronomy 28 that a nation would come as swift as the eagle flies. And we already know the very image of the eagle is America's image. So we see that this nation would be involved in taking our people into captivity as swift as the eagle flies. We see that that people would set their nest in the stars. We also see that that people would dwell in the clefts of the rock. So we see a clear picture that this last time, end time people would be linked to these Europeans, i.e. America. We went to the hidden book of Esdras in 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 9, that says, for Esau is the end of the world. That means these Edomite, red, cleft dwelling in the rock, ego exalting people would be the end of the world, and Jacob would be the beginning of it that follows. All praises be to the Most High God. So y'all, we got next. Throughout all this hell that we're going through on this side, y'all stay encouraged, Zion. Be proud of your history. Be proud of your identity. Be proud that the Most High has chosen you for such a time as this to be a part of his exceeding great army that he is raising up to be able to establish a government. And I ain't talking about this capitalistic, critical race theory-based society of America having a haves and a have-nots and a scapegoat people and a critical race society where whenever the underclass tries to rise up, the system itself transforms to keep them bound. Y'all, this is the hellhole that white people have created. Y'all understand? With all the technology that America has, with all the influence and money that these nations have, they have chosen to use it to keep y'all's people oppressed. It blows my mind. So, y'all, we dealt with that beast system, and we're going to do a little review through the book of Revelation. So, we see in Revelation chapter 7 and 14 that there is a group of people, there is an army known as the 144,000 that are sealed, are set apart, are taken out, are unplugged out of the matrix of this system of the beast, and they're going to be sealed with the name of the Most High Yah. They're going to know who they are. They're going to be detoxed from white Jesus, white Christianity doctrine, and the Most High has them preserved. And judgment is not going to hit this earth, and to each and every one of them know who they are sealed in their mind, know their identity, are detoxed from white Jesus. Judgment's not going to hit until that process takes place. Not just that, but in the beginning of Revelation chapter 7, the angels are involved in a task that involves the four corners of the earth, right? We saw this in Matthew 24, verse 31, where these angels, their whole job is to go to the four corners of the earth to regather Yah's people. We know that the curses in Deuteronomy 28 was that Yah's people would be scattered to the four corners. So the elect, as we see in Isaiah 45 verse 4, the elect is talking about the children of Israel. These angels are regathering diaspora as we speak right now on Zion Dynasty. Also, if y'all want to support this work, I'm going to pick that Cash App up, because this work is also fulfilling that very mission of these angels going and spreading the identity to all of our people. Y'all have to tell your loved ones, you got to tell your family who we are, do your DNA, get your history, start keeping law and the statutes and the commandments. Turn back, O Zion, because as these angels are getting Israel waking back up to who they are, the great awakening, the greatest awakening in human history is Yah's people coming back to their identity. What Satan meant for evil, if it had not been for Yah who was on our side, he said, I ain't never forgot about my people. My people, the so-called black, so-called two-continent slap, had to go through this to fulfill their end of the bargain because we transgressed the first covenant. But we know in Jeremiah 31:31 and Hebrews 8:8 that the Most High says, behold, I will make in those days a new covenant, a renewed covenant with who? With the house of Judah and the house of Israel. So that's for all y'all Christians that say,
Hey, we're back then. The Most High was dealing with Israel, but now he dealing with everybody else.
that ain't biblical, that ain't canon, that ain't scripture. You got that in your whole head, my Negro. You created that. That's a pigment of your imagination. The Most High ain't forgot about his nation, his chosen people. Let's go. The new covenant. We saw in Romans chapter 9 verses 3 and 4 that the new covenant, the promises, the adoption, the covenant, all that pertains to Israel. 4 verse 5. We got to end this, y'all. Now in the same book of Galatians, this is where the whole contention of neither Jew nor Gentile arises. Let's go to Galatians chapter 4, beginning at verse 5, and it reads, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Wait a second, y'all. Let's go back to Romans chapter 9 verse 3, because this piggybacks it.
In Romans, recall that in chapter 9, verse 3, it reads, "For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my people, my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites. To them pertains the adoption." Whoa, wait a second now. To them pertains the adoption? Wait. Now let's go back to Galatians chapter 4, verse 5. "To redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive adoption of sons." Wait a second. If the adoption pertains to Israel, right? And it says to redeem them that were under the law, this is in the book of Galatians. Paul is talking to Israelites. The Gentiles are able to partake when they cleave like the Syrophoenician woman. They got that faith like Rahab the harlot that says, "I know that y'all the people." And we got people on this channel like Alan Duckman. These brothers, these Gentiles that have sincere faith, that know who we are, that are humble to that and say, we know, we just want to be a part of this, right? We know that y'all the people, we submit to that. That's the kind of people that are going to be a part of the kingdom. But understand, the kingdom is a city prepared for a bride, and that bride is the woman with the 12 stars crowned around her head. Y'all better talk to me, even the 12 tribes of Israel. The kingdom is for us, y'all. So these angels in Matthew 24:31 and Mark 13:27, their whole job is to sound this alarm around the four corners of the earth to awaken y'all's people. Now, while this is going on, while the 144 are being sealed, while the angels are regathering y'all's people, the beast system is going on. Now, we talked about this in detail. Y'all check out the Mark of the Beast video. In Revelation 12, we see that this great red dragon has animosity for this woman. That dragon says,
"I will destroy this woman. I will destroy her seed that comes out of her womb."
And we see this woman represent Mary. Now that great red dragon, we know the Edomite people were a red European people. We talked about that in the history of Esau. Y'all check that out. Herod was an Edomite in Matthew 2 that was trying to kill Mary that was about to give birth to Yeshua. And in Matthew 2:13, the angel tells Mary and Joseph, he says, "Flee, take the child and go to Africa. Go dwell in Egypt until this Herod is killed and dies." So the angel tells him, y'all need to go until Herod dies and then come back. Now in Revelation chapter 12, we see John telling this same story. Why is he doing that? He's speaking in code. He's speaking cryptically. Why? The Romans had already banished him to the Isle of Patmos because they knew those apostles were trying to start a black revolution. That's why they cut James' head off. That's why they crucified Peter upside down. That's why Nero cut Paul's head off, because they didn't think that they was preaching some lovely message. Y'all gotta understand, the Romans adopted Christianity during the Roman Council. We talked about the Council of Nicaea, and they took books out. They changed a lot of the narrative of the Hebrew scriptures to take the man-child out of the womb of the woman that conceived it. This is that same spirit of the red dragon. So we see that John is writing in this symbolic language to talk about this dragon coming against this woman, which is really Herod coming against Mary, and it's also Herod's people, the Edomite, European, Roman people and their descendants that will perpetually come against the woman that is Mary and her people, the nation of Israel, who would give birth to the Messiah. So there is a system. There is a white supremacist agenda. We talked about COINTELPRO. Y'all check that out. We talked about the Willie LYNCH letter. Y'all check that out. All of this is a part of a system of that red dragon to oppress Israel. Now, let's keep going. This is just a review. So after this, we see in Revelation 13 a beast that comes out of the sea. Now, Daniel talked about that fourth beast, but he didn't say what animal it was, and he didn't say that it came out the sea. In the hidden book, that's why they took these books. Get y'all a Sefer, get you a King James 1611, because it puts all the puzzle pieces together. Daniel sees a fourth beast. In Revelation, we see a beast come out the sea. Ezra in 2nd Ezra chapter 11 sees an eagle beast come up out of the sea. It bridges that together for your understanding. So this dreadful beast that comes up is an eagle. Now we see that this first beast is the ancient Roman Empire, and this beast gets its power
from the dragon, which is the Edomite people that fund this system to destroy Yah's people. Now, that dragon gets into a lot of deep stuff. We talked about that dragon representing not just Satan or Edom, but a family of Satan, a synagogue of Satan, that in Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 and in Revelation chapter 3 verse 9, it says that there would be a people that call themselves Jews and are not, but are the family of Satan. They are that red dragon. This is why Israel, you'll see Israelites, we don't even call ourselves Jews. When I refer to the black Jews of Africa and the Americas by the Harvard professor, that is to speak in a language that our people can understand. But understand, your boy don't call himself no Jew. I am Ephraim, Yoruba, but I Ephraim of the tribe of Joseph. I never claimed Jew, not Judah, the tribe, or Judah, the southern kingdom. I don't even claim Jew in terms of practicing Torah. I claim myself as a biblical lineage Israelite that descends from the ancient Israelites. Most of us say that. When we say Judah, we're talking about the tribe of Judah. When we say we're Israelites, we talk about Ephraim, Manasseh, and that kind of thing. Them Ish people call themselves Jews and are not, but are a family, a Rothschild dynasty. Y'all, that video is coming, right? I'm gonna blow the lid off, and I hope they don't take these videos down. If y'all can, download them, because YouTube been giving me hell lately, and y'all didn't seen it. So, you know, I didn't warn you, right? So, you have this beast that comes out of the sea. That is an eagle that represents ancient Rome. In verse 2, it says that this beast would have all the elements of the prior beast. Now, we read about those beasts in Daniel 7. We see that this fourth eagle would be an androgynous weird figure that has the body of a leopard, has the feet of a bear, and has the mouth of a lion. So this eagle would take all the elements of the empires that came before it and use it almost like an android created to destroy Israel. Now this gets into some Matrix stuff, y'all. That white people and this European power construct has drawn the wisdom of all the previous empires. I know some of y'all think I'm just talking. Y'all check out that Willie Lynch video. Willie Lynch himself said it. He said that the tactics that we're gonna employ in the Willie Lynch letter to destroy these black folks would have Rome be put to shame. So America knows who they are. Why did they separate themselves from Rome? Because the second beast, y'all, so okay, let's deal with it. We got the dragon, the Edomite people, the Rothschilds, that special family of Satan that fund and create this Roman Empire. That first beast comes to an end. The second beast that comes up out of the sea causes the people of the earth to magnify the first beast because it has wonders. It causes fire to come down from heaven. People are like, who can make war with this beast? This second beast causes people to worship and remember Rome. This is modern America. The 10 founding market European companies that created NATO are the European Union. Now it's about 27 to 30 countries are part of that, but the founding people were 10 European countries led by America, who is the whore of the daughter of Babylon. So we talked about that. Then we talked about this beast, that European resurrected Rome, right? Council of Nicaea, a renaissance of white supremacy, which is the second beast, which is America. We went into detail in Revelation chapter 17. Y'all take notes. I know this is a lot. So in Revelation 17, we see this whore, this daughter of Babylon, that rides the beast. That means she leads the beast. That means she controls the beast, and the beast serves this woman. We read in Revelation 17 that this woman sits on many waters. This went into the Statue of Liberty imagery and also spoke to American policy, how America's policy sits on many waters. Now that second beast appears like a lamb, we saw that in Revelation 13, but speaks like a dragon. So America would have this image of a beast, look like a lamb, but be a dragon. Who is this? White Jesus. Christianity, that false prophet, or that false prophetic system. I know y'all take notes now. That false prophetic system that the beast would use and cause all the people of the earth to be deceived. So y'all, we went through all of this. And the 144 is Revelation 7 and 14. The beast coming out of the sea is Revelation 13. The beast gets its power from the dragon of Revelation 12. And in Revelation 17 and 18, we read about the whore, that great mystery Babylonian city, that great nation that will be an offshoot of the beast, an offshoot of the Edomite people, but would lead that people. So family, we went through a lot in the book of Revelation, and I haven't even touched a drop in a pond of all the wisdom that's in that end time book. So now family, we're gonna go deeper into the book of Revelation. We're gonna pick back up about that woman that sits on many waters. So let's go back to Revelation 17. So we see in Revelation 17 verse 1 that, and there came one of the 7 angels with 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet, a red-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of the abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now check verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YESHUA or Yahusha. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So John is like, this is a bad woman. She sits on this red beast. She's clothed in red. She's also an offshoot of Edom. She has purple, so she's this royal princess of Edom. The 10 market companies, they carry this woman, right? She sits on many waters. That means her policy reaches the 4 corners of the earth. But not just that, the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. This is how America has destabilized countries. We talked about that, how America goes into different countries, right? Raises up their own puppet leaders, and the leaders that would stand for the people, they knock off, they send a drone. We went into that. But not just that, this beast would have blood dripping out of her mouth of the saints of the Most High and the martyrs of Yahusha. What is this talking about, family? This beast is responsible for killing Yah's people. So we already saw in Revelation 13 that this beast, specifically the first beast, would set the stage in waging war against Yah's people. When Rome first came to power, Rome set up centurion guards in the land of Judea. They said,
it ain't gonna be no Messiah. It ain't gonna be no king. It ain't gonna be no rebel rousers and no Sakari.
Because our people were freedom fighters. We were longing for the Messiah. We were hoping for freedom. We said, when is the kingdom gonna come where Israel is restored, where Israel is exalted? And Rome came in and subdued all of that, right? America followed suit, went over there to Africa, went to sub-Saharan Africa, went to West Africa, went to Nigeria, went to the Igbo, the Yoruba, the scattered Israelites of that continent, and took them off into slavery. Y'all gotta look at this. But not just that, spiritually, since that whore of Babylon, since America is an offshoot of Edom and ancient Rome, America also has something to do with the death of the martyrs of YESHUA. So this is John comparing this second beast, this whore, this daughter of Babylon, to ancient Rome, because they're doing the same thing. Now let's keep looking at this. So, and the angel said, why are you marveling? I will tell you the secret, the mystery of this woman and of the beast that carries her, which had 7 heads and 10 horns. That gets into NATO, right? The beast that thou sawest and was and is not shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth will wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. What is that talking about? This is to all those people, I think they're called preterists, that think that the scriptures have already come to pass. We know this is not talking about ancient Rome during the time of John the Apostle, because he said that this beast that is to come is, but it's not yet. This is a future country that will come as an offshoot. This is how we know that this was not already fulfilled. This is an end time prophecy. We already read in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9 that Esau is the end of the world. So we know that this Edomite people would have to exist in the very last days. It would be a people, a European people, a Roman descended people that would do the same things, that would have the Colosseums, that would have the Roman architecture. Everything that America does is a carbon copy of ancient Rome. They already know their history. They know they go back to those Europeans. And y'all check out the history, watch this, of Zepho, the grandson of Esau, who founded ancient Rome. He came in there like a thunderous god. He was just swing, 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 just slicing and dicing all the enemies of the people. And they were like, man, who is this guy? Man, this guy is legendary. And he became the founder and subdued all the European, Grecian, Cyprus island region. We talked about that in Legend of the Jews. Also, we talked about that in the book of Jasher. We talked about how Zepho, the grandson of Esau, was this militant, legendary warrior, and that he ended up going up there to Europe and founding that people. So y'all got to check out those older videos about that. So we know that America is this second beast. America is this whore, this daughter of Babylon, this end-time nation that will make war against the saints, that will try to subdue Yah's people, that would trample the remnant of Yah's people under her talons, right? So now we're going to go to Revelation 18, y'all, and we're going to go deeper into the whore of Babylon, and then we're going to go into the New Jerusalem when the Most High Yah establishes his kingdom. So let's go into it. So in Revelation chapter 18, it says, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened up with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." So this is this angel prophesying that the end is coming. The end is near. Babylon is fallen. So he's talking about it even while this Babylonian system exists. This is a prophecy because America is already going downhill, and the handwriting is on the wall because we got next. Let's go. Let's keep reading. "And he cried mightily, saying, Babylon the great is fallen." Verse 3. "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. She has destabilized countries, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." This, my friends, is getting into the slave trade. This is getting into the transatlantic. Y'all watch, I'm gonna show you. It says, "Come out of her, my people," in verse 4, "that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive none of her plagues." Now this is where a lot of Israelites said, we gotta leave Babylon, we gotta leave America, we gotta get out of here, and we gotta go back to Africa. Understand, this is talking about spiritually. How do I know that? The 144 were sealed in their head. Understand. Now let's talk about the 144 a little bit. So the 144 in Obadiah, the last verse, it says that saviors shall appear on Mount Zion. So this is talking about the 144. Now, in Revelation 14, it said that they would be sealed in their heads. In Revelation 7, it says it as well, that don't bring any judgment until they're sealed. What is this talking about? Spiritually unplugged from the matrix of white supremacy, the woke great awakening of Yah's people. All of us Israelites that know America is the devil, that knows that America didn't oppress our people. We speaking damnation to America. We're praying for the kingdom. We're praying that our Yah'S remembers us, restores us, and judges all these wicked nations. Those are the woke, awakened, pineal gland, decalcified Israelites that are sealed in their head. Why do I bring this up? Because in Revelation 18, it says, come ye out of her, my people. This is not talking about running to another country. How do I know that? We just read that America has committed fornication with all the kings of the earth. That means America's policy that sits on many waters that we read in Revelation 17 would affect every nation. So Israelites that are trying to run from the curses, run from America's talents, you're not going to be successful if that's the spirit that you're coming from. Do I say that it's all right, our people going off to Africa and trying to get away from this country? That's fine, but understand, don't let it be to avoid judgment, because you can't avoid America that way. You have to trust in the Most High Yah that's going to bring judgment on America. You can't escape the curses. You can't escape America's policies, because America goes into Africa, and y'all don't think that America hasn't affected the prime ministers and the leaders in Africa. If you think that, we got to have a whole nother conversation. A lot of the leaders in Africa that would have freed the people, right? You see what they did to Nelson Mandela and all this stuff? They affect South Africa, they North Africa, West Africa. They go in there and pick the puppet leaders that they want that aren't going to save the people. Those puppet leaders in Nigeria that's just trying to collect a check. I'm just going to tell y'all the truth, right? So we understand that these things, y'all, I had to move my chair because the light started shining through I couldn't even see myself on the screen. Now, so America is going through destabilizing all these countries. You cannot run from America. So when it says get out of her, my people, unplug from the matrix. Y'all watch the movie Matrix. I'm telling you, it helps our people. Unplug, stay woke, know the games that America's playing. That's why I tell y'all the mark of the beast ain't necessarily a nano chip or the COVID vaccine. This is why I say that. Because white Jesus believing in America, trusting in Europe. Oh, America's a God-fearing country. America's a Christian nation trying to combat all these terrorists and these Muslims. In God we trust. We are a Christian nation. We brought the Bible to you. All of these misguided Gentiles and some of our people that are simple enough to think that the Most High is going to redeem America. You simple. The reason I bring that up is because America is a wicked, deceptive country. The mark of the beast is her deception, which she promotes in the image of the beast. The image of the beast is white Jesus, is Christianity, is that doctrine that takes a little leaven and twists the entire integrity of the scriptures, that took Yeshua, that took Yahusha, changed his name to Jesus, changed his image to a white European. That's the deception. That said that Israel was replaced, that gave you Easter bunnies laying eggs, that you worship an Ishtar and a demonic satanic being, and Christmas trees that Jeremiah 10 says a man goes and cuts down a tree and he decks it with gold, silver and gold. This is the deception. Oh, God wants you to know good and evil. That satanic serpent that's twisted, that goes this way but then goes that way. Wickedness. America looks like they're God-fearing, tries to act like they love the Most High, appears like a lamb, appears like a Christian nation, but her wickedness, when you uncover the skirt of her lewdness, her fornication, and the smell thereof has reached heaven. I'm just keeping it straight with y'all. So America, this wicked, deceptive entity, that's the mark of the beast. Christianity is the mark of the beast. The nano chip, you will not get, understand, let me explain this to y'all. You will not take the COVID vaccine or the nano chip, right, when you're already skeptical of America from the first place. Let's go. When you already know that they wicked. Our people, we already know about the Tuskegee syphilis study. We already know that white folks didn't already try to get our DNA. We already thinking about Get Out, where white folks trying to take our bodies and take our organs. And y'all can do some videos on some weird articles I didn't read about bodies being killed of our people and the organs being missing. So we already skeptical. We're on high alert because we're sealed, trusting in the Most High, and knowing that everything America does, these bacon, egg, and cheese burgers and biscuits, we already know America is godless. So we're already skeptical. So when they talk about a mandate, you know we ain't taking that thing, because we already, so the mark of the beast is the trust in America, the trust in that beast, where all the nations are gonna be like, who is like the beast? Who is like the beast? That's the deception. The deception of white Jesus and America being holy, that's the mark of the beast in your minds. And you have to detox and become woke to the fact that's what this is talking about. Now let's go back to Revelation. So we see in Revelation 4 that the angel from heaven says, come out of her, my people. Detox from her way of thinking. Detox from white Jesus, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. We know the Most High was able to protect our people when they was in Egypt. We were in Egypt. Let's go. We were in Goshen. That when America was getting judged, when Egypt was getting judged, when the plagues was hitting them, when the darkness, our people had light, when the frogs was coming, we ain't see not one of them. Y'all better talk to me. When locusts was all over the place, we couldn't even find one, right? And when Egypt had their firstborns killed, our people were protected in the midst of the storm. Why do I bring all this up? So Zion, y'all need not fear. Because even in the midst of all that judgment going on in Egypt, the Most High was near. He was close to his people. When the firstborn was getting killed in Egypt, he was protecting our children. Y'all, when it says get out of her, that is not talking about trying to run from the Most High or the reach of these nations. It's saying detox in your mind. So now, family, we're finna go ahead and go into after these nations are judged. We're about to talk about after the Gentile era, after Babylon the Great is fallen, the new heaven and the new earth, and our people receiving immortal bodies. So now let's talk about this a little bit. So when the Most High Yah brings judgment on America, judges the European Union, executes vengeance on all these nations for what they have done to his people. After the Most High brings all this judgment on the nations and he establishes a new heaven and a new earth, what's gonna happen is our people are gonna be taken up in the ships. The chariots gonna come, take us back to Zion. Christ is gonna be wreaking havoc with these nations, and our people are gonna be given a new body. Now this gets into the incorruptible bodies that are gonna swallow up our corruptible mortality. Now we're gonna talk about it. So in Revelation chapter 19, verse 1, it says, "And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Alleluia! Salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our Elohim. For true and righteous are his judgments. For he hath judged the great whore, he has judged America, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his saints at her hand." So the Most High Yah ain't playing no games. The Most High is going to avenge every ounce of blood that cries out of the ground, every lynched Israelite, every servant of the Most High Yah that has died at her hand. And it says in verse 3, "And again they said, Alleluia, and her smoke rose up forever and ever." America being destroyed, the smoke of it going to rise up for eternity. It's going to be a perpetual burnt offering where every time our people look, we're going to say, man, the Most High Yah won't play no games. Our Yah has delivered us and has judged that wicked nation. Now let's look at what happens next. So in Revelation, the next chapter, and y'all, I'm going to go back through these things just to go into more detail. But in the next chapter in Revelation 20, it says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. So, y'all, this gets into Revelation 13:10. Now, all of this is coming out of Revelation, line upon line, precept upon precept. In Revelation 13, verse 10, it says, "He that led into captivity, gonna go into captivity." So this devil, this old serpent, is not talking about some metaphorical dragon. This is talking about Edom. The nations are going into captivity in the kingdom. A lot of y'all are like, what the? But a lot of y'all, most of y'all already know this. The nations are going into captivity as our people rule for 1,000 years. Now, during this New Jerusalem, this holy Mount Zion, the wealth of the wicked, all the nations are going to bring all their wealth and lay it before Yah's people. Now, the final judgment is going to come after the 1,000 years, where the Most High just executes vengeance on all these nations, because they're going to be given a last hurrah, and they're going to try to fight against Zion and New Jerusalem, and they're going to be put to death. So right here, we see Christ coming back. He going to judge all America and all these nations. The remnant of them that's left that ain't fight when he first came, they're going to be chained for 1,000 years. What does that mean? They're going to be our servants and our handmaidens. I'm just got to give y'all the way it is. In Isaiah 14, we also see this. And when I say this, y'all understand, there are a lot of loving, sincere Gentiles that are going to just, we love Israel. We support Israel. We know that y'all are Yah's people. We submit to Torah. We submit to Yah's leadership as the governing class of the Most High Yah. But there are going to be nations that rile up against this, and the Most High going to tear them out the frame. Let's keep reading. So, and he cast him, those wicked nations, that wicked Edomite, satanic people, and cast them into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed for a little season. I know this can get confusing, y'all. Y'all stay with me. So when Christ returns, he's going to regather his people, take them to the land. He is going to chain up all the nations, all the Gentiles. They are going into captivity. They're going to be our servants in the kingdom. I'm just explaining it to y'all. Now, this is not saying no wickedness when we doing the stuff that they did to us, but this is saying that they're going to either by choice or by force submit to Zion. The wealth of the wicked is going to be given to Yah's people to build this new kingdom, to build New Jerusalem. Let's look at it. So in Revelation chapter 21, we're going to deal with it. And it says in verse 1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John the Apostle, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High Yah out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Y'all, this is a lot. So what's going on is, our people, after Yeshua wages war, after our Messiah judges these nations, after he regathers Israel, takes us back to the land, that John is seeing a heavenly celestial body, the mountain that Daniel saw smashing the statue. A city from heaven is going to come touch down on earth. This is going to annex with Jerusalem, that nation, us going back to the land, and we're going to see that this is going to be a new heaven and a new earth. The Most High is going to do away with the old earth. He's going to judge all the nations, and he's going to bring New Jerusalem down to touch down on earth for his people during the 1,000-year reign, while the other Gentiles are having to serve Yah's people in the kingdom. This is a lot. I will have to do 2 or 3 more videos to go into more detail, but basically, Yeshua comes against his people, secures us with the chariots, takes us back to Zion. The Most High sends a heavenly city prepared for a bride from heaven on high, and his will has been accomplished of heaven on earth, the kingdom of Yah coming down for his people. Let's look at this. So, and I heard a great voice of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High Yah is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself, Elohim himself, shall be with them and be their Elohim. Y'all, there's a lot in this. A lot of people believe that there was an ancient city. Now this gets kind of deep, that was taken up to heaven. Now this gets into the book of Enoch and a lot of different things. This is where you see Norse and Greek mythology talking about Asgard and that kind of thing. But basically, the Most High has a prepared city in heaven that's going to come down on earth. Some scholars say that this is going to be a revived Garden of Eden. That when man was kicked out of the garden, man lost access to the Garden of Eden. Some people say it would have been in Africa, and that it's just gone. They say it would have been around Ethiopia, but they can't find it presently. Now this is where this heavenly city, which is actually New Jerusalem, that is the mother of us all, that is the original Garden of Eden, that is that city prepared by Yah. Y'all, y'all hang on tight. This city, this Garden of Eden paradise, that's going to come down and touch back down on earth. Whether that means the continents are going to receive it, that there was a missing piece and that kind of thing, we don't know the details. We just know the Most High has that city prepared for his people that's going to come down in the area where we're going to be regathered to, and this is going to be New Jerusalem. Now, speaking of that tree of life, we're going to deal with it. But first, I'm going to prove to y'all the nations are going to be servants. We already seen this in Revelation 13:10. We already see this about the dragon being bound for 1,000 years. But let's look in Revelation 21 and see it further. So at the bottom of Revelation 21, toward the end, it talks about the foundations of the cities. So this city that comes out of heaven, we read about it. In verse 10 it says, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy New Jerusalem descended out of heaven, y'all. This is going to be like Asgard or something you read about in science fiction. Having the glory of the Most High Elohim, and her light was likened to a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Y'all gotta catch this. This celestial city that's gonna come down for Yah's people in the area where the Garden of Eden would have been originally, he's gonna restore that continent, bring this heavenly city, and the city's gonna have 12 gates with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. That means ain't no other nation going in there except for Israel. This is gonna be the holy sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, which in the Old Testament, we see a foreshadowment with the tabernacle. It had the outer court, the inner court, and the Holy of Holies. This city is the Holy of Holies, Holy Jerusalem, that's gonna come down for Zion, for our people, and it's gonna be everything you thought Wakanda was. Oh my goodness, man. This new city is gonna embody that. Now, what are the nations that don't have access to these 12 gates? What are they gonna be doing? Let's look at it. In Revelation 21 verse 25, it says, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night, because the light that's going to light this city is the very glory of Yah. And the other nations are going to be able to worship with Yah's people. They just ain't going to be able to go into that holy place. Now let's see in verse 26, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. What is this saying? All the wealth of the wicked, all the nations are going to cast this down before the Most High Yah. When they see this take place, they're going to be like, oh man, we're going to give you all of this. We're going to lay all this down before Yah's people, right? So the wealth of the wicked, all the nations are going to bow down to the Most High Yah. All the wealth of the wicked is going back to Israel. This new Jerusalem is coming down from the sky. Now, let's look at this tree of knowledge. I mean, not the tree of knowledge. Let's look at the tree of life. Now, the tree of life, we see that our people lost access to the tree. Now this gets kind of deep, y'all. The angel that guarded the Garden of Eden when we kicked out was actually the same angelic being that gives power to the Gentile rulership. How do I know that? In Ezekiel, we see that that cherub, that anointed cherub that covers, was the one that guarded the Garden of Eden to keep man from coming back. This is spiritually Satan. This is the celestial angelic being of Hasatan, who gives power to the Gentiles to rule, and he has a family. Now we saw in the book of Jasher, y'all stay with me. We saw in the book of Jasher how Esau was right there at the land of Canaan when Joseph and the 12 brothers tried to take Jacob to bury him. Spiritually, this is our people. Now this was led by Joseph, trying to take the knowledge of who we are in the faith of Yeshua, take the bones of Yeshua and the price that he paid and the blood that he was slain, and go back to that land and say, this is our land. We're burying our father here. This belongs to us. Our father purchased this from you. Now we saw in the Sefer in Philippians 2:11 that it says, watch this, that Yahuwah is Yahusha. So this is a metaphor. Just like Joseph was trying to bury the remembrance of Jacob, our people now are saying Yeshua was the black Messiah. He belongs to us. We're going back to Canaan. But in Jasher, we see that when Joseph and the brothers tried to bury Jacob, that Esau withstood him with his sons. This is an end time prophecy of the Gentiles that's going to have to be going into captivity, because they're not going to let this event happen. They're going to fight against us going back to that land. They are that spiritual Satan, that spiritual descendant of the serpent in the garden, that anointed cherub that guarded the Garden of Eden. Y'all, this stuff is deep. So we see that that angel did not want us to get back to the land, but there's something deeper. That angel also did not want us to get the tree of life. Now the Most High said, now don't let them get the tree of life. Understand, the Most High is using this being. He's using Esau. He's using these nations. They answer to the Most High. So these nations ain't doing nothing outside of his dominion. Y'all better go ahead and talk about it. The Most High is he who reigns, he who was, is, and shall be. And the nations don't even have no rulership without our Yah allowing it to come to pass. So this angel was guarding our promised land and keeping us from the tree of life. Now we see in the kingdom, when we're given immortal bodies, how does this happen? The tree of life. Let's read about it. So in Revelation chapter 2, verse 7, it says, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the church. To him that overcomes, I will give to eat, or allow him to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Y'all gotta understand this. The Most High actually took Eden about this thing. The angels guard it and guard the spiritual touchdown of the Holy Land, the holiest site on earth, which is in that Northeast Africa region of the so-called Middle East. That people, the synagogue of Satan, the Ish people, are guarding that land just like Esau guarded it against Joseph and his brothers, just like the angel guarded it against Adam. They're guarding that promised land to keep us from getting back to that land and to keep us from getting that tree of life. Yeshua says, oh my goodness, Marv, to them that overcome, to them that endure to the end, to Yah's people that through the tests and trials will wait for his coming, wait for Yeshua to redeem us, he's going to give them the right to eat of the tree of life. This is where the immortal bodies come from, y'all. We're going to have immortal, everlasting bodies that don't age. Who else talks about this? Paul in 2 Corinthians. In 2 Corinthians, we read in verse 3, it says, if so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. Now, let me go back to the beginning. Let me go back. For we know, in verse 1, that if our earthly house, our earthly body of his tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God and a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. What is he talking about? Paul is saying that even if we lose this body, we have another body, an incorruptible body. Y'all, let's talk about it. A body not made with hands. So this is not a human-made, carnal, fleshly body. This is where you get into the mystery of Adam and Eve. Now, I know it's a lot, y'all. When Adam and Eve did what they did, a lot of scholars say that they had an immortal, they had a different body. And they saw that they were naked after they disobeyed the Most High Yah. Satan finessed them to give up their true wealth, to give up their true life for a counterfeit of death. That's what he did. And right then they saw that, man, I'm naked. I look like a regular fleshly being. They lost their incorruptible body. But Paul is saying that we're going to get that back. Israel's going to get that back in the kingdom. Let's read about it. For in this body we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house, which is from heaven. If so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we that are in this body are groaning, we're burdensome, our health is bad, we can't remember everything, we suffer in this body, we only have a certain amount of years to live. Not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed on top of this, that mortality might be swallowed up in life. All right, so it's a lot in this, y'all. Paul is basically saying that this body is going to be swallowed up with a new body, an angelic body, a celestial body. This goes into the tree of life that Yeshua, the coming Messiah, is going to reveal and give to his people, those that endure to the end. Now, in 1 Corinthians, it also says this same concept. In chapter 15, it says, in a moment, verse 52, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and his mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, O death, You are swallowed up in victory. For O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to our Elohim Alahayim, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. All praises be to the Most High Yah. When Yahushua returns, he's going to give us access to that heavenly Jerusalem, that city that's going to come down ready for us. We're going to be able to eat of that tree that the angel guarded from us. All the nations are going to be subdued. That angel is going to be judged. We're going to have access back to the relationship of our Father and the light of his glory. It's going to be the light that shines in this city. Y'all, this is New Jerusalem. We see the 144 are already going to get a taste of this, of what is to come. But in the kingdom, all of Israel will be changed, and their bodies are going to be swallowed up into these incorruptible bodies because of the tree of life, because of Yahusha, and because of the Most High Yah. So y'all, I hope you took notes. I know this was a lot. I know I was going through a lot of precepts. I'm going to be retouching the book of Revelation. I still have a couple more videos to deal with it. But I hope y'all were blessed. Y'all rewind it as many times as you want. But I love you all with the love of the Messiah. Peace, love, blessing, and more Israelite power to all my Israelite brothers and sisters and all those sojourning Gentiles. I love y'all with the love of the Messiah. All praise be to the Most High Yah. Shalom.